they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head.
From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing is rare for the Keys. And it leads on who they might have been running for.
The cartel killed my family. I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
We are
Cultivate.
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 Cultivate. We are Cultivate.
Hello and welcome to Ye Olde Crime, where we discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear. I'm your host, Lindsay Valenti, and with me is my sister and co-host, Maddie Savage.
Hello.
Hello there. Well, this week's topic is going to be interesting, so let's just get into it. So this week, we are going to be discussing Betsy McHugh.
That's a cool name.
And information was pulled from the following sources: a 2017 Victorian Historical Journal, issue 288, volume 88, number 2, 3 convicted records listings, Convict Women's Press, Founders and Survivors, and Wikipedia.
Super vague. How are your resources vague?
I know, right? Special thanks to Carrie Ann for her research assistance on this episode, and links to all of these articles will be included in the show notes. Now, there may not be a ton of source material surrounding today's subject, but there's a lot to be learned from the world she lived in. So let's start there.
Okay.
By the late 1700s, Australia had become a network of British penal colonies. Over roughly a century, more than 162,000 convicts were transported there from the UK and Ireland.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, regardless of how you slice it, that's an all-out invasion of a country.
Yep. Our story takes place in Van Diemen's Land, modern-day Tasmania. The first settlement was established in 1803 at Risdon Cove, but it didn't last. And by 1804, a new colony was founded across the river at Sullivan's Cove, what we now know as Hobart.
Okay.
Now, from the beginning, the colony struggled. Food shortages were constant, and when Norfolk Island was abandoned and its population relocated to Hobart, the strain only worsened.
Yeah. Let's add a bunch of people who already don't have resources and limit our already limited resources. What could go wrong?
Resources were thin and getting thinner. And into this harsh and unstable world steps Elizabeth Betsy McHugh. Betsy was born around 1830 or 1831 in Gibraltar, a British territory at the southern tip of Spain.
Okay.
And even though we don't know her parents' names, we do know, based on court testimony, that her 6 siblings were still living at home with her parents: Robert, Thomas, Bartholomew, Richard, Martha, and Mary. It's speculated that Betsy's parents were Irish. It's not racist, isn't the term that I'm looking for, but you know what I mean?
Colonial racism.
Okay.
Or ethnic bigotry.
Okay.
Racism without race.
Yeah, bigotry makes sense. By 18, she was living in Manchester, working as a housemaid. She could read and write, and likely moved for work.
So she was doing well for herself for being Irish at the time.
Yes.
She's moving up in the world.
Her first conviction came on April 18th, 1849, for receiving stolen goods.
Oh, no. Receiving stolen goods?
Yep.
So she was gifted goods that were stolen, so she was the one that got in trouble.
Yes.
Cute.
So she had to serve 6 months in jail for that offense.
Great. Do we know what the stolen goods were?
We'll get to it. So the following year, Betsy was tried alongside 16-year-old Harriet Riley from Manchester on the charge of stealing a pair of boots. Harriet had spent the prior year serving time for stealing clothes, and it's not outside the realm of possibility that some of those very clothes are what Betsy was charged with possessing when she was originally charged the year before.
That makes sense. Sorry for wearing the clothes that I was given.
Yeah. Both women were brought before the court at Manchester Borough Quarter Sessions on June 17th, 1850, and were found guilty. They were sentenced to transportation for 7 years and went to Millbank Prison in London until their ship bound for Australia was ready.
So they were jailed for 7 years for wearing stolen clothes, regardless.
For stealing a pair of boots.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to go to a penal colony for it.
Yep. So transportation, in case it wasn't clear, was a sentence in that time period, meaning we're going to send you to a penal colony somewhere else. And the most common penal colony of the time was Australia.
So it was just exile, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
You're trash. We don't want you. We're going to send you somewhere else.
Yes. We are forcing your exile. And a lot of why transportation was such, I don't want to say popular thing, but why it was so prevalent for so long was because a lot of the people that they sentenced with transportation were repeat offenders. So they were like, if we've already jailed you once, chances are we're going to jail you again. And we'd rather continue to jail you somewhere else outside of our country because then we don't have to bring you back. So you can just go be somewhere else.
You're somebody else's problem.
Yes.
Yeah. You're our problem adjacent.
Yes.
Cool. Literally sweeping people under rugs.
Onto boats and then shipping them off. Yes.
Cool. Got it. Yeah.
And we know thanks to a census that both women were there as of Sunday, March 30th, 1851. So they were still in Manchester as of that date. The women would be aboard the Aurora, which docked at Woolwich on March 26th and departed from London. Fun fact, this would be the Aurora's third and final trip to Van Diemen's Land. Her first was in July of 1833, when she transported 300 convicts, 118 of whom were going to serve life sentences.
Wow.
Her second was in June of 1835, transporting over 300 convicts, 70 of whom had life sentences. And her final voyage departed on April 22nd, 1851, carrying 234 convicts, only 3 of whom had been given life sentences.
So they started to really slow down the whole life sentence thing once the colonies were better established. Cute.
In 1851, Betsy boarded the Aurora, bound for Van Diemen's Land. The ship's surgeon was described as, quote, a kind yet thorough man who treated the women with respect, end quote. And he noted Betsy's conduct as exemplary.
Yeah, because she was well-read and she took care of homes and she was trusted enough to be in somebody's home all the time. So
after 106 days at sea,
oh my God,
she arrived in Hobart. And thanks to the surgeon's report, we know that Betsy was around 20 when she arrived, that she had dark brown hair, blue eyes, a pale complexion, a low forehead, an oval face, a small nose, mouth, and chin, a small scar on her left arm, and that she was roughly 5'3" tall.
Okay.
A week after she arrived at Hobart, Betsy was assigned to work for W. Hardwick at his music shop. In November, Betsy was back at the Bricksfield hiring depot, and on November 18th, her marriage application had been approved. Betsy had fallen in love with 25-year-old Robert Richardson, a fellow convict who had arrived in October of 1850 aboard the Nile after being convicted of stealing a watch and several carpentry tools from a man named Samuel Thomas. Outside of this offense, he was viewed as a highly respected individual, to the point that within 2 weeks of his arrival at Hobart, he was granted a ticket of leave, which was a big deal.
Jeez. So it must have just been like a petty dispute, potentially, since it was just this one person and all of his like intricate watch fixing tools, I imagine.
Well, it was carpentry tools. So.
Oh, sorry, carpentry.
Yeah. Who knows? On December 8th, 1851, Robert and Betsy were married at St. George's Church of England at Battery Point. But married life didn't stabilize Betsy. Betsy repeatedly broke probation rules, mainly by being out after hours, and was sentenced to multiple stints of hard labor.
How bad were the hours, though? Was it something where she couldn't go have dinner with her husband? Because I know, like, they used to, I mean, they can be really petty with the hours.
It was
stuff.
something where, for all intents and purposes, she lived with her husband, but there was a certain time of day in the evening that she had to go back to the prison, and then she could leave in the morning and do her thing. But she had to stay at the prison at night, and so it was a matter of not meeting curfew or not returning from leave when she was supposed to.
Got it. That's a really strange situation.
Yeah. Still, the couple tried to build a life, even as they alternated time spent in prison for a variety of offenses. Robert moved to South Brony Island, about 84 kilometers or 52 miles south of Hobart, and worked as a shipbuilder. And for a time, things seemed to improve. They had 3 children together: Thomas Richardson on April 20th in 1853, Robert Jr. in 1854, and a third on April 20th, 1855, the name of which I was unable to find.
That's not good.
And on June 18th, 1855, Robert collected his certificate of freedom. So he is now a free man for all intents and purposes.
Big deal. Huge deal.
Then came the boat. Robert built a whaleboat that ended up being claimed by powerful Hobart businessmen William Easton and James Burgess. Now, when William came to retrieve it in September of 1855, Betsy famously climbed into the boat with her infant and refused to leave, claiming that the boat belonged to them.
Oh. She was squatting for her husband, essentially.
Because Robert had built it because he had been, after he was given his certificate of freedom, he was fully allowed to use his carpentry and cabinetry skills, I think was what his previous employment was, to build ships. And so he built this boat. He may or may not have known that it was sold. Who's to say?
All right.
The legal case that followed in October was dismissed, the magistrate claiming he could not try, quote-unquote, an action in trover. In legalese, the lawsuit would have been used to recover the monetary value of the item, in this case the boat, which was wrongfully taken, used, or sold instead of requesting the return of the item itself. So essentially he was like, I can't give this to you, or I can't try this case if what you're asking for is the value of the boat and not the return of the boat itself.
That makes sense, because the boat is still intact, still exists.
Yep.
So, yeah.
But the fallout was immediate. Soon after, on October 5th, Robert was violently attacked by men connected to the dispute. He took them to court a few days later, on October 9th, and lost. He couldn't prove that they were the ones that assaulted him.
That beat him up, or like the reasoning. Yeah.
His reputation suffered, work dried up, and not long after, Robert disappeared entirely. Whether he fled, was killed, or simply abandoned his family, we don't know.
Honestly, from the sounds of it, it sounds like he was killed, or he ran away. I would assume he died.
I would assume he tried to flee and they found him. That's my gut reaction.
All because of a boat.
All because of a whaling boat. Betsy was left behind, alone, still a convict, with children.
Now three children.
And things quickly unraveled. Without her husband and still serving her sentence, Betsy was forced to return to the House of Correction. On October 31st, 1856, she was found guilty of disturbing the peace. Don't know how she was doing so. Her situation was further complicated by the fact that she was expecting another child. And two of her children, Thomas and Robert, had to be admitted to the Queen's Orphan School.
Yep, because she can't bring them with her to prison.
Yep.
And I'm assuming they let them stay up to a certain age, potentially, like the babies and stuff.
Thomas was 4 when he was admitted on January 10th, 1857, and his younger brother Robert was 3.
That's awful. So I bet like as soon as you wean from breastfeeding, you get shipped off.
And although we don't have information about the child that Betsy had back in 1855 during the legal dispute about the whaleboat, we do know that she gave birth to Charles on February 1st, 1857. The child was registered by John Smith, the officer in charge of Brixfield's nursery, and the father was listed as Robert Richardson. But it's unclear if he was actually the father or if Betsy listed him as such to legitimize Charles's birth.
I mean, at this point, we don't know that she would have strayed at all from him. I don't know how she would have had the time with 3 kids, prison, and now like trying to sort out the fallout of her husband being murdered and or disappearing. She's got a couple things on her plate. Like
It's entirely possible if she gave birth to him in February 1st that she was pregnant before Robert left, because that whole thing happened at the beginning of October. So it's entirely plausible that he is actually the father of Charles.
Right. And considering they were both in good standing up to that incident.
Yeah, I didn't see anything about either of them like not being faithful to one another.
Yeah.
Or of her stepping out or vice versa.
Yeah, I think that's just an old school trope.
Yeah. 5 weeks after the birth of Charles, on March 10th, 1857, Betsy was granted a ticket of leave, and in December of that year was awarded her certificate of freedom. At this point, Robert was no longer in the picture, and Betsy moved south to live with Thomas Maddox, who was a sawyer, aka someone who saws timber for a living.
Okay.
Whom she likely met when her husband was employed as a shipbuilder in South Brunny.
Yeah. Could have been a friend. Could have been somebody who was watching her sons while she was gone.
On November 26th, 1858, Betsy gave birth to another son named John William Maddox at Gordon, a town about 50 kilometers or 31 miles south of Hobart. His father was listed as Thomas Maddox, and Betsy listed her name as Elizabeth McHugh Maddox.
So she remarried, potentially?
Potentially. And you may be wondering what happened to her other sons. Well, her eldest, Thomas, was transferred to the male school on January 22nd, 1859, at the age of 6. Her younger son, Robert, was discharged from the orphan school on March 21st, 1859, and he went to live with his mother and younger half-brother, Charles, and the newborn, John.
I wonder if she struggled getting them back. I can imagine it would be difficult since she's the mom and she has a criminal background and the father is out of the picture.
Yeah.
And the father was disgraced.
Yeah.
That she'd have some trouble.
Betsy's parental skills have been called into question when her youngest child, John, died from, quote, want of nourishment, end quote, in September of 1859, just shy of turning 1.
Okay, so he starved.
Yeah. The area of Huan district in which the couple lived has been described as a, quote, rough area for even the toughest men and women, end quote. So not long after the unfortunate death of John, the family picked up and relocated to Green Ponds, which is 45 kilometers or 30 miles north of Hobart. So they went in the opposite direction.
Hopefully to something better. God, that would be devastating, having a child die like that.
The location change didn't, in fact, improve Betsy's circumstances. In early February 1860, Betsy dropped 6-year-old Robert off with a stonemason in Green Ponds named Charles Bauer, even though records of his arrival aboard the Lady Kennaway in 1835 and his misdoings could fill a volume all on their own.
Wow. So she just gave him to somebody even more dangerous than she was, allegedly.
Yeah. I wrote AKA danger. Like,
yeah.
Horrible idea.
Great.
3-year-old Charles was left with a married laborer in hunting ground named John Ma. And after Betsy fled, Thomas Mannix didn't see any reason to continue to take care of her eldest son, Thomas, either because he couldn't or just didn't want to.
Probably both, honestly. He's probably bitter, and they probably had a very typical stepdad-stepson relationship.
Mm-hmm. So he applied on February 20th, 1860, to have him readmitted to the Queen's Orphan School. And on March 1st, 1860, Thomas was officially readmitted to the Queen's Orphan School.
Awful.
Not long after this, Charles left Green Ponds and left 6-year-old Robert with a licensed victualler, or a spirit seller, named John Hartwell, who applied for him to be admitted to the orphan school on March 15th, 1860.
Ended up there anyway.
It's probably for the best on several counts because A, it got Robert away from a super dangerous guy. B, it got him away from a liquor seller who was also bad news. And C, at least he would be back with his older brother.
Yeah. It sounds like that school truly might have been the only option for them, given everything else falling out.
But what of young Charles? Well, on September 10th, 1861, Mary Whitaker, who also lived in Green Ponds, applied to have Charles admitted to the orphan school as she was, quote, quite unable to support him, end quote. At his admittance, she listed his name as Charles McHugh, that she believed his father was living at Port Phillip, which is another penal colony, and she had no idea where his mother had gone.
That's so sad.
So where did Betsy go? Betsy resurfaced in Launceston, about 153 kilometers or 95 miles north, under a new name, Elizabeth Buckley, with a new partner, George Buckley. George had originally been transported in 1850 aboard the Maria Soams to serve a 7-year sentence, but after receiving many misdemeanors, his sentence was extended, and he didn't receive a ticket of leave until July of 1860. So 10 years after he got there.
He was supposed to do 7 and he ended up with 10.
Several months later, he was granted a conditional pardon in March of 1861.
That's not super great.
No. Betsy found herself with child once more and gave birth to a daughter on November 10th, 1860, who was baptized at St. John's Church in Launceston and given the name Rosanna Buckley. On her birth registration, her parents were listed as Elizabeth McHugh and George Buckley. Now, what followed was a pattern: theft, scams, and near constant court appearances. There was a super long list. I condensed the hell out of it. We would have been here for hours if I would have gone through everything. In one incident, she was accused of stealing money directly from a man in a pub and passing it off to an accomplice. In another case, she faced charges tied to stolen money from a hotel robbery. Again and again, cases fell apart due to a lack of evidence. but the authorities adapted.
Of course they did, because she's doing it a lot.
Instead of charging her with specific thefts, they labeled her what they believe she was, quote, being an idle and disorderly character, frequenting public places for the purpose of committing a felony, end quote.
Bold statement. Really bold statement.
And that charge stuck.
Wow. Okay.
She was sentenced to hard labor, reportedly having, quote, cried bitterly on account of having to leave her 3 children, end quote, despite most of them already being in state care.
Yeah.
By the early 1860s, Betsy and her associates had taken their operation to Melbourne, 618 kilometers or 384 miles away from Launceston, running brothels and targeting intoxicated men.
Probably targeting intoxicated men when she was stealing before, too.
Yeah, so in her previous location in Launceston, she and her husband George had set up a brothel, and they had a fun collection of characters that would assist with the thefts. And because they were all in a bit of hot water, they were like, well, let's just all pick up and move, and we'll do the same grift somewhere else.
Yeah.
One case on June 29th, 1863, revealed just how bold they'd become. A detective testified, quote, yesterday evening, I went to Buckley's house in Little Bourke Street. Curran was there shortly after the Buckleys were brought in. Bolton was there, and when all 3 were together, they were charged with the robbery. Curran said, I do not deny it. I had the man's money. Then prisoner Elizabeth Buckley said, addressing Curran, yes, and had it in from you. Mrs. Buckley said she had got 42 pounds from Curran. The male prisoner observed, you are too late for us. We had it, but it's all blued. I then arrested them and took them to the watch house. I found no money upon them, end quote.
Great.
And despite attempts to argue that, quote, the characters they were represented to be, end quote, wouldn't make such admissions, Betsy was convicted and sentenced to 2 years hard labor. And even after release, the pattern continued. And let's not forget about the silent victims of Betsy's shenanigans, her kids.
Her children, yeah.
Betsy gave birth to another son, James Buckley, in 1863, but he died shortly after birth.
Probably for the best, honestly, with her being so crazy with the crimes at the time.
Rosanna was made a ward of the state on December 6, 1864, and enrolled in the industrial school at the age of 4.
The industrial school at 4? I hate it here.
The following year, in September of 1865, she was sent to the new school on Ryrie Street in Geelong. And after serving their sentences, because George was sentenced as well, the Buckleys left Melbourne and moved to Ballarat, which was 116 kilometers or 72 miles away. In Ballarat, Betsy and her partner ran similar scams. Victims would stumble into their home drunk and leave without their money. One man, William Ford, on June 11th, 1866, was heard shouting, quote, murder, police, give me my money, end quote. To which Betsy replied...
That sounds like a drunk, honestly.
Yeah. To which Betsy replied, quote, go and look for your money where you lost it, end quote, after she, George, and some cohorts relieved him of 42 pounds, or 4,400 pounds today, in cash.
Oh my God.
And a £5 or 520 pound today check.
Oof. Yeah, I would be shouting fire, police, whatever. So it's probably all he had.
Yeah, so like almost 5,000 pounds today.
Wow. If you're traveling with that, that's not great.
Yeah. Another victim, Terrence Murphy, was described as, quote, a laboring man with more money than sense, end quote, whom Betsy conned out of £1 or 100 pounds today, and her accomplice, Elizabeth, walked off with 10 shillings, or about 30 pounds today. Sometimes cases collapsed, sometimes they didn't. When witnesses cooperated, Betsy and her partners were sent back to prison, again and again. In one final incident, a man named Patrick Flaherty entered their brothel, and Betsy, quote, put her hand in his trousers pocket and emptied its contents on the floor, end quote.
All right.
This time, police arrived quickly enough to catch them in the act.
Almost like a sting operation.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
More prison time followed for both George and Betsy. By 1867, Betsy was back in court yet again, this time for having, quote, no lawful visible means of support, end quote.
You can't make money without committing crimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she disappears. After leaving Ballarat, Betsy vanishes from the historical record. No confirmed death, no clear ending, just gone. And as for the children, here's what we know. Thomas Richardson was at the Queen's Orphan School until March 21st, 1859, when he was released to his mother at the age of 6. On March 1st, 1860, he was readmitted and wouldn't be discharged until October 31st, 1865, at the age of 12, to Mrs. Catherine Madden Biceno, to whom he was apprenticed until July 3rd, 1871.
Jeez.
Charles Richardson / McHugh was discharged from the Queen's Orphan School on March 23rd, 1871, and apprenticed to a man named Stephen Daly. He would go on to get married at the age of 22 to a woman named Sarah Merrington, and the couple would have 8 children together.
Oh, I hope he had a good life.
Yeah. Robert Richardson was admitted to the Queen's Orphan School at the age of 3 on January 10th, 1857, and was released the same day along with his older brother to his mother. At that time, he was 5. That is the last I know of him.
Jeez, that's not good.
Rosanna, her daughter, stayed at the Geelong Industrial School until May of 1868, at which point she was transferred to the Ballarat School. She was discharged on December 30th, 1871, but with no mother to be discharged to, she was readmitted for another 4 years of education. There is a note on her record that states mother dead on March 18th, 1872, but no record of Betsy's death between the years of 1867 and 1872 has been located. So I don't know if they just assumed she was dead because she had been missing for so long. We do know that George, Rosanna's father, passed away on August 2nd, 1875, at the Geelong jail while serving a 12-month sentence for vagrancy. Whilst working at a farm for Charles McRae, Rosanna became pregnant and gave birth to a son whom she named George Thomas Buckley in 1876. She would go on to marry a man named Henry Joseph Picking on June 11th, 1883, and the couple would have 2 boys and 7 girls.
Dang.
She later changed her name to Rosetta and passed away at the age of 70 on December 30th, 1930. But Betsy McHugh / Elizabeth Buckley remains a ghost in the records. All told, during her time in Australia, she was in and out of prison roughly 10 to 12 times on charges ranging from breaking curfew to theft and prostitution. A woman shaped by a brutal system who in turn left a trail of chaos, crime, and broken lives in her wake. And that is the story of Betsy McHugh / Betsy Richardson / Elizabeth Buckley.
It's really sad. It's like every system failure trope ever. She hit every single branch on her way down out of the tree. It's good to know that at least one of her children hopefully had a good life. If not, at least 2, potentially 3, maybe.
Yeah, I
we don't know if the others survived.
I couldn't find any more about Robert Richardson and anything more about Thomas after he was apprenticed out.
Well, you don't know too if like maybe they did really well in school and they like changed their names, or
It's entirely possible he left. Either or both of them left Australia. Like there's no reason they couldn't have left. So I don't know. But yeah, it was just sad that she had so many children that had to
be in and out of the system.
Yeah.
A harsh system in a harsh country.
Harsh place, yeah. We wouldn't be here without support from listeners like you. If you're interested in supporting us financially, you can leave a one-time or monthly donation over on Buy Me a Coffee or our Venmo page. Links are in the show notes. And we make a point of reaching out to send you a thank you note and stickers to show our appreciation.
Want to show your support in a more concrete way? Pick up some Yield Crime merch over at our TeePublic shop. We shout out whenever there is a sale each month, and we work to make sure we're creating new designs and changing it up whenever possible. And hey, thanks for listening.
If you love the show, the best way to support us is to leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Good Pods, CastBox, Podcast Addict, and or Audible. Links to all of these are in our show notes, or if you're already listening on one of these platforms, you know what to do.
Oh, and while you're at it, shoot us a question you'd like to hear us answer on the pod. We'll give you a special shout out and address your burning questions all at the same time. The weirder, the better. Submit them via link in our show notes or shoot them to us in our DMs.
I have no listener question this week. So on that note, what is something good you'd like to share?
I haven't been feeling super great for a while. And as of last week, I finally think I'm starting to get the care I need to like figure out what's going on with my body. So that's something good. Got kind of a watch, some things to kind of monitor what's happening. Yeah, it's just been kind of a rough couple of weeks for me, body-wise, health-wise. But it looks like things are hopefully turning a corner a little bit, or at least like my persistence is paying off.
There you go.
So, yeah, I was reassured a little bit when the people that I'm going to see were asking the same questions I was asking.
That's good.
Like, why haven't we done this? Why aren't we exploring this? Could it be this?
That's good.
So I'm hopeful, because if you are chronically ill in any capacity, you know how frustrating it is when your illness becomes visible. And my illness has been visible for a long stretch, and it's very frustrating for me to not be as able-bodied as I normally am. So, yeah, it's a good thing. It's good progress from a very frustrating situation. Yeah. What about you?
This is going to sound really dumb, but I don't care. My something good is, so remember how Mom and Dad got me a rock tumbler for my birthday last year?
Yeah. Is this your first like round of rocks?
Yeah. So I'm currently, it's paused right now because we wouldn't be able to talk.
Well, obviously. Right.
But I'm on round 2 of polishing some rocks and crystals that I had.
Cool.
And I think once I turn it back on, I think I will have enough time before we leave to get it to like the final stage, so that when we come back from Africa, I'll have some shiny ass rocks. So
hell yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Hell yeah.
So we'll see.
They're so fun. I love rock tumblers so much. I love like the rinse off and like, oh, they're smoother, and then you put the other grit in it and then they're even softer and you're like, oh my god.
Yep. So yeah, this is the second round, and even after the first round, they were looking pretty smooth.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Hell yeah. Get some rocks.
Give me some pretty rocks. All right, shall we?
Let's do it.
And on that note, as always, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Madison.
And we'll see you next time with another tale
as old as crime.
We love to hear from you, and there's a couple of ways you can reach out to us. You can email us at yeoldecrimepodcast@gmail.com, where you can send us story ideas, share any spooky stories you may have, fun gifts, or even just to say hello.
You can also reach out to us via snail mail. Remember mail? Our mailing address is Ye Olde Crime Podcast, P.O. Box 341, Wyoming, Minnesota 55092. Fun fact, we like to send out thank you cards with fun stickers you can't get at our shop, so it's worth the cost of a stamp.
Want to be social with us? You can see pics from this week's episode, bonus content, and funny memes on X at Ye Olde Crime Pod, or on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, and YouTube at Ye Olde Crime Podcast.
Speaking of YouTube, we have a special playlist just for our Can You Crack the Cramp Word segments with our guest podcasters to see who can correctly guess the meaning of some obscure Victorian slang terms. If that's your thing, check it out.